Hey YouTubers, welcome back to the Oki Twister 66 Garage. Today this is going to be a follow-up video to the original video that I did on the installation of the Indian Scout bobber fairing and windshield with the headlight relocation. As you recall, this ugly piece of wiring here really frustrated me, so we're going to try to tidy that up. So stay tuned. Okay, real quick before we get started, I just wanted to ask if you might consider subscribing to the channel. I would really love that. It would help me grow the channel. So please consider hitting that subscribe button. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try to hide this gnarly bunch of ugly wires. And I had a great comment from one of my viewers on the previous video that said this bunch of wires can be installed inside the headlight bucket. Well, it should have occurred to me at the time, but it didn't. I was so frustrated with a couple of these other things. I just wanted to get the thing on. I didn't really think it through all the way to the end. I should have done that. The instructions weren't as clear as they should have been. And this was originally attached to a bracket rather than stuffed inside a headlight or a headlight bucket like the original Scout. So this is a Scout Bobber 20. It's a little bit different than some of the other Scouts. So we're going to try to get this cleaned up. The first thing to do, I'm going to skip all of the other procedures with removal and installation. You can refer back to the other video. I'll put the link down in the description. First step is, of course, after you get the fairing off and everything is exposed, to remove this lock nut, because everything goes in from the back. We're just going to have to basically undo what we did and redo it. So first step, remove this. It's a 15 millimeter and there's a 15 millimeter nut on the other side. Okay, now the bolt is out. I've got the headlight assembly just laying here on the fender. You can see I've got a nice microfiber towel protecting the fender. I've also got one on the gas tank. So next thing to do is we're just going to unvelcro this fabric. All of this we're going to try to put in there. I think it's going to be a challenge. Okay, you may recall this screw was missing out of my kit. I found one out of my bolt bucket. Well, this is basically what holds the light bulb and the bezel into the bucket. So I'm just going to unscrew that to give us a little bit better access. We'll take this headlight out, have a little bit better access to try to put those wires in there. As you can see, with little patience, you can get the wires in there. You can also see how it really does tidy that up. Man, I love that stuff. I don't like things being untidy. So obviously the next thing we need to do is we need to put all this back together. Those of you who watched the last video, you might recall my frustration with this piece. Directions are not too clear, but now I know it sandwiches between, and it's a weird fit, but it does fit if you take some time and patience and just take your time. So we're going to put all this back together. This was the missing screw. I found my own. It doesn't need to be this long, but it doesn't hurt. Okay, everything's back together. Just a couple of final notes. The overall fairing installation was pretty straightforward. Wasn't that difficult. The part that was really a pain in my butt anyway was this rubber surround, this missing screw, and I didn't realize what I needed to do with this wiring. So there was a couple of other steps that needed to be addressed in the instructions that I just feel like they just kind of skipped over in some of them, and in a couple they just flat out left out. But anyway, everything's back together. I really love the look, the tidied up, cleaned up look those wires now being hidden inside this headlight bucket. I've gone ahead and readjusted the headlight, the aiming. I will once again put the link to that procedure in there in the comments below. So anyway, everything's back on. Let's get the fairing on and let's take her out for a test ride, and we'll do a little bit of review on the fairing itself and the process. So stay tuned.
Okay, let's talk about this fairing. First, let's talk about the installation. I ordered this fairing directly with Indian Motorcycles of Oklahoma City. Yeah, I probably could have ordered it online, but it was just a good excuse to go down there and see the staff. I like going to the dealership when I can. So they ordered it. Really cool guys and gals. I didn't even have to pay for it until it arrived. So I ordered the fairing kit with the headlight relocating kit because it's a Scout bobber. And I also ordered the 7-inch windshield, which is the tallest one that they even offer. I think it took about a week or so for it to arrive at the dealership. So I went down there and picked it up and started the installation a couple days later, as soon as I had time. Wasn't cheap. Good stuff never is. So I got it home, went out in the garage and started to install it. Did the inventory of the parts. I missed one, and wouldn't you know, it happened to be the one part that was missing. It was a screw that holds the headlight into the bucket. The instructions seemed pretty good until I actually got into the process of the installation. And then I found them a little bit lacking. And they flat out left out a couple things. The biggest challenge with the installation was, without a doubt, it was that rubber surround that goes around the headlight. Getting that thing sandwiched between the headlight and the bucket was just, it was just aggravating. But we got it all on. Posted the video of the installation. Then I get a comment. Tells me, hey, I could have hit those wires a little better. And man, was he right. That's one of the reasons I like doing the videos. You get good feedback. Good people out here on YouTube. Hopefully they like my content, and I like the fact that they're gonna point out some things that I may have missed. So thanks, man, appreciate that. So when I got that comment at my first opportunity, I went back out to the garage, tore everything apart, filmed it, so I could do this review. So we got the wires tidied away. It looks much better when the fairing's off. Hang on a second. This is a hill. Sometimes I have trouble on that one. So we got got the wires squared away. Looks neat and tidy. So let's see how it rides. Actually, I've had the fairing on for a couple weeks. And I've ridden it around quite a bit. Before I had the wires squared away. So those of you who didn't get to see the installation, I'll put a link down below in the comments of this one to that video. So now I just need to run to the drugstore to pick something up, so I figured, hey, this is a good time to, let's talk about the fairing. I mentioned that I got the 7-inch windshield. It was my best guess. I knew I didn't want the short one, because the main reason I wanted the fairing was to take some wind off my chest. You get up over 60 miles an hour on this Scout, especially with the stock seat, which I've replaced now. And there's another video on that about the Corbin seat installation. But at higher speeds, the wind was just brutal. At times it felt like it was just going to pull you right off the back of the bike. Just uncomfortable. I've never been a huge fan of windshields and fairings as far as from the aesthetic perspective. I don't care much for the way they look. This one was the best choice, and I think it actually looks pretty good. But there's something to be said for riding in comfort. If I can't get up to highway speeds without feeling like I'm going to be blown off the back of the bike, I can think of things that are more comfortable than that. So the installation was pretty good. It wasn't too hard except for this headlight relocation thing. It gave me lots of frustration. But that's how we learn. That's one of the objectives I had when I first bought this bike. Not only did I want to ride, I want to work on something. Tinker with something, modify something. I used to work on race cars, as many of you know, and I kind of missed that. So with all of the aggravation, it was still worth the time, effort, and money, because I love this. I love this windshield and this fairing. It does a great job. Here when I get up to speed, oh, I hate this traffic over here. Okay, I'm gonna put my hand out front and we'll kind of show you where the wind starts, but it basically keeps all the wind off my chest. It does hit my head, but I've got a full face helmet, and it does pretty good in the wind. So this is where the wind starts, and it's going upward across the top of my helmet. So it does still give me some good ventilation in the helmet. But where you really notice it is at highway speeds, 65, 70, 75 miles an hour. It's actually comfortable. I don't feel like I'm fighting just to hang on. And combined with this Corbin seat, and it has the backrest, it's totally transformed my rides and this bike. I love the fairing. I love the windshield. So I'm going to keep it. And I'll probably go ahead and lock it down with the little bracket clamp doodad that I showed you on the first video. It's kind of a safety measure, I guess, for theft and that kind of thing. But overall, I give this fairing and windshield a big thumbs up. Highly recommended if you have the time, the money, and the patience. Get yourself one of these Indian Scout fairings. Good investment. This is Okie Twister 66 signing off. Ride safe, 2 wheels down.